Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing the last quarter-final review, which was between South Africa and Japan. So let's get straight into it. So this game, it was quite a big occasion, especially for Japan. Of course, it's the first ever World Cup quarter-final for them at their own World Cup. First Asian team as well to make the quarterfinals of a World Cup. It was a brilliant occasion for them. But South Africa had to come and do a job. They wanted revenge for 2015 after losing to Japan in a shock loss back in England. So they wanted revenge and they got that. They got revenge, and for me I think the South Africans were really good against the Japanese. The Japanese were good. They held on. They were good, but for me, the South Africans just stopped the way that the Japanese like to play. Because the Japanese, they like to play free-flowing rugby, they like to throw the ball around a bit. And the South Africans really stopped that. And a real crucial part of the South African team against the Japanese in this game were the centres, Dialande and Am. They were outstanding against the Japanese, just stopping the attack. They were always the first players up in the defensive line, and they just made sure that they were always quick up the line and went straight into the Japanese faces, and it kind of stopped the attack because the Japanese had nowhere else to go. Otherwise they were going to get intercepted or they were just going to run straight into them. So they really stopped the Japanese attacking game, the South Africans, and for that they did really well. And to not allow the Japanese to score a try is very good as well, because we always see the Japanese score a try, even if they're on the back foot, even if they're not playing well, they will always score a try because they're that sort of team, they're that sort of attacking natured side. But the South Africans really stopped that, and I think it's credit to their defence because it was just outstanding. And I think their defence has been pretty good for a number of years now, even when they were struggling. And it really showed up against the Japanese, and it was very good indeed. For the Japanese though, I don't think anything really went wrong for them. They went into the game, they wanted to play their own style of rugby, they wanted to enjoy themselves. Of course, even though they got knocked out, they're probably still going to be very happy with this performance. They're still going to be very happy with the performance, they're still going to be very happy that they got to the quarterfinals, which of course was their target. It's not that they played badly, it's just the South Africans stopped them from playing their game, and that is where the game was won. So the Japanese, they were starting to get sucked into the scrappy battle with South Africa, really, because they were cutting off the channels. They weren't allowing Japan to get all those quick balls out because of the running up of the defence was so good. They were getting caught in the scrappy battle. But that was mainly in the second half when that happened. But in the first half, the Japanese had the South Africans on the ropes. How they didn't score a try, I will never know. Again, credit to the South African defence. But they were all over South Africa in that first half. I think they had most of the possession and they were causing South Africa problems. They were running round them and what they usually do, but they didn't score a try. And yeah, as I said, credit to the South African defence. They didn't concede against the Japanese when they were on fire in the first half, and that probably brought the momentum onto the South African side just to squeeze them out of the game in the second half. I also think another little part that came into it was probably the tiredness factor. The Japanese first ever quarter-final, it's a step up from pool stages. It's much more physical, it's just much more better rugby ultimately. And it's not that Japan didn't play at that standard, it's just the fact that they were playing so hard and so well throughout the pool stages. I think that ultimately had an effect on them in the knockouts, and come the last stages of the second half they just didn't have the energy anymore. They just really couldn't get on the same level because the South Africans were there for the full 80. Overall, I think the Japanese will be very happy with what they've done in this World Cup, and I think the Japanese are amazing and they did brilliant. It's been such a great sight to watch them play. It's outstanding stuff how they play, to be honest. For the South Africans though, they managed to stop the Japanese play their game, and well, in the end they sort of ran away with it, especially in that second half. Tiredness was a factor, but yeah, the South Africans went through, stopped the Japanese playing their game, and came out with a win, and will face Wales in the semi-finals of the Rugby World Cup. Well, Japan, this will be remembered greatly for them, and yeah, they've been such a spectacle to watch, but for me, I feel like they've reached where they really wanted to get to, and they've done that, and I think they've made everyone proud. They've made everyone in their nation very proud, and they can be happy with what they've achieved getting to the quarterfinals of a World Cup and giving a game to a strong South African side.